So Bitcoin is pumping, altcoins are pumping, but why? Now, I believe there is one major catalyst that has helped swing the momentum in the cryptocurrency space, which is Putin pulling back troops from the Ukraine border. Now, we're going to be briefly diving into what Putin said as well about all of this, but we're also going to be looking at a few other catalysts that I believe has helped build on top of this. But I'm also going to show you some things to be mindful of as well. Now, before we dive into it, I want to take a brief second to talk to you about one of the partners on the channel, which is 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 where you can not only buy cryptocurrencies, but you can also buy precious metals and save on those capital gain taxes. Now, if this is your first time, yes, you can earn $100. But the beautiful thing about 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗣𝗧𝗍𝗓 that just started today is their funding account used to be you had to start with a minimum of $2,500, and then the additional deposit amount was a minimum of $8,000. Well, they've changed all of that starting today. Now the minimum starting amount is $1,000, which is a lot more doable for most people, and the additional deposit is a minimum of $500. And so if you want to check out 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗡𝗧𝗍𝗓, they used to give you $100 in Bitcoin, but now they fund you with $100 in fiat, so that way you can choose what crypto you want to spend it on. Now here's a brief overview of the cryptocurrencies that we can buy and sell on the 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗡𝗧𝗏 platform, and they're also known for adding new cryptos all the time. So there is a link down in the description below, no promo code needed, and remember, you will be able to earn $100 to help go with your funding, and the minimum amount is $1,000 to open your account, and the additional deposit is now $500. So go ahead and check it out. We're going to be diving into the price chart of the cryptocurrency market. We're going to be diving into why things are pumping, and also something to really be mindful of that still has to take place right after this. Welcome back to the channel, millionaires. I'm Mike the Investor, and as we can see, looking at live coin watch, the cryptocurrency market is around 2.1 trillion, and looking at Bitcoin here, we can see well over 47,000. It has also retraced over 900 billion. And one thing I mentioned in the last video when I was talking about Bitcoin and altcoins pumping, is it a pump or dump? I mentioned one thing I truly think we have to see from Bitcoin, and that's Bitcoin reaching that trillion market cap by itself again. I really think that is the true test to really see, is this, the true pump, right? And so as you look at kind of the top 10, we got Ethereum doing this thing as well, back over 400 billion, over 3,300. Of course, you got XRP, ADA, Luna that's been doing this thing, purchasing so much Bitcoin for a stable coin. You got Solana doing its thing, of course, Avalanche, and DOT, of course. And so if we go ahead and move over to kind of the main thing that I believe has helped trigger this market kind of reversal here, is crypto pumps after Putin pledges to partially pull back troops, right? So let's kind of move down and kind of see what Putin has to say, right? So Russia had decided to partially pull back troops from Ukraine's border. Now, this is most positive news that has come out of the recent Russia-Ukraine tension. So it goes on to say that we are also ready to continue on the negotiating track, but all these questions, as has been said before, must be viewed comprehensively, Putin said. Now, Putin also, we intend to and will strive to reach agreement with our partners on the questions that we pose in order to solve them by taking a diplomatic path. So he's basically kind of saying, in a nutshell, they're trying to come to an agreement, without, putting lives in danger, right? And so this is definitely positive news as a whole, not just for Russia and Ukraine, but for the entire world, in my opinion. Now, if you just look how things have shifted, because we know crypto changes like the weather. Just last week, you could see crypto was at an extreme fear in 30, and now you can see today we are now in greed just that fast. This is how things change. This is how the sentiment changes in the market from fear to greed, right? And so if we go ahead and look over to this briefly, Bitcoin had been stuck below 40,000 after it jumped in the price by 10% to above 42,000 following President Joe Biden signing off a sweeping executive order on cryptocurrency March 9th. Now, this is another catalyst that I believe is help building on top of, the Putin thing, but this came out prior to Putin making that statement. And so, which calls for government agencies to create a plan to regulate cryptocurrency, to consider a government-issued central bank digital currency. It marks the first concrete steps by the White House to regulate cryptocurrency. And also another catalyst I mentioned in the previous video will be the CME to launch micro Bitcoin and Ethereum options in March, which is today, March 28th. This is also major in my opinion, because one thing, if you know about options do manipulate the price of assets, right? If you have more longs than you have shorts, typically that price is going to go up. If you have more shorts than you actually have longs, then typically the price is going to go down based off of, where they are saying the price will go, right? And so all of these things can pump and dump the market until we really get that full regulation, in crypto. And so open interest, I believe, is bullish, but at the same time, it does create those pump and dump opportunities that we will see. Now, the other thing I want to mention that we want to be mindful of will be the press release from the Federal Reserve issues FOMC statement, right? So let me blow this up a little bit. So listen to this, because we understand the first interest rate, in my opinion, was baked in, but listen to what they're planning on doing. So the committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. Now, with appropriate firming in the stance of monetary policy, the committee expects inflation to return to its 2% objective and the labor market to remain strong. So as we move down here, in the support of these goals, the committee decided to raise the target range for federal funds rate from a quarter, which is 0.25% or 0.25 basis points, to a half, which is 0.50% or 0.50 basis points percent, and anticipates that ongoing increases in the target range will be appropriate. And so in addition, the committee expects to begin reducing its holdings of Treasury securities and agency debt and agency mortgage-backed securities at a coming meeting, which I've talked about this in multiple videos. Also, last year I was talking about this stuff as well. Now, so voting for this monetary policy action were these people who preferred at this meeting to raise the target range for federal funds rate by 0.5 percentage point to a half to 3/4%, right? And so you can see that they're telling us that instead of raising it by 0.25% or a quarter of a percent or 0.25 basis points, however you want to look at it, they're telling us they're looking to raise this by a half of a percent to potentially 0.75%, as they raise interest rates. And they're also saying this is going to be done even faster, not to mention they still have to do Fed tapering, which is selling assets off of the balance sheet, because how do you raise rates on debt that you can't pay back, right? And this is why they have to sell those assets to also help stabilize the market and the financial system. So there's a lot of things that's involved here that does have to take effect regarding the pump that we're currently seeing. So the question is this the 100,000 Bitcoin pump that so many people have been talking about for 2022? Now, in my personal opinion, I don't believe it is. I believe we still need some things to happen to really push Bitcoin to that 100,000 plus, such as a physical spot Bitcoin ETF, such as really getting a foundation of what regulation is going to look like and all of that good stuff. I really think that has to really set a pace before we really see 100,000 Bitcoin. Now, if I am wrong, that's great for everyone. But one thing I will say, think about what I said. Let's say I am wrong and we hit 100,000 plus Bitcoin. Imagine where the rest of the market is going to be, and we haven't really got a full understanding of where things are going to go as far as regulation and all that other stuff. That tells us we're going to have a significant pullback. So with that being said, if Bitcoin gets anywhere close to that during this temporary pump that we're seeing, take profits when it makes sense, okay? No one ever went broke from taking profits, but I'm telling you, if things just pump crazy here in the next, 15 to 20 days or so without seeing a significant pullback lower to where we were prior to where we are now, get in position to take profits, because I'm telling you, we are going to see a significant pullback. This is not to scare you, but just to make you aware of what can happen and what will happen inevitably. So if you gain some value from the video, definitely smash the like button. Really helps out the algorithm, and I will see you on the next one.